Hey YouTube, this is Drizzle. I'm just finished disassembling, partway, one of my EVGA GTX 980 Ti Classified Edition cards. See, I've got my my fan shroud and heat-seek assembly already removed. I already cleaned off the thermal grease that was there on that square block shaped portion. Put that back down here. And as you can see, I've cleaned off the actual GPU itself and pretty much gotten down to just the bare essentials. The nice thing about these classified cards, you can see, is it's got all this metal, they call it a MOSFET shroud, which covers up all your RAM chips and most of your the main board circuitry, so it's well protected, which is nice because most cards are just kind of the blank PCB. So flip this thing over here real quick. You can see like the back plate material that comes with these is really quite nice. And I guess you guys don't need to see my serial number. But anyways, I'm waiting tomorrow. My new I ordered an NZXT G10 mounting bracket, which I'll turn this back over real quick. But you can see like there's these 4 mounting screw points here, and turn this back over again. And the way it works is like you feed screws through and they come out at these corners, and it ties into this mounting bracket, which then kind of sits across here, and it lets you put a fan here, so you still, like, all the RAM and so forth is located underneath this general area. But it lets you keep that area fairly cool, and then you mount a closed loop water cooler block here, and then you run like your fan, your tubes off to your radiator over somewhere, and mount it somewhere in the case wherever seems convenient. I'm only doing it on one of my cards right now to see if I like the performance, and if I do, then great, and if not, then I'm not out too much money. But if I like it, then I'll go ahead and do it to my other 2 cards, which you can see right here. I've got 2 sitting right there. I'm waiting to get a motherboard replacement right now. I had 2 motherboards come bad. You can see like my case is kind of empty at the moment. I have gone through 2 of the MSI x99 godlike motherboards, and they were both bad. They both had different problems, but this last one here was worse than the first one, and it kept basically forcing my CPU to run at 100 degrees for no apparent reason. The cooler works fine. You can see I kind of got it just covered up right now until I'm ready to put whatever on the new board. And I got my CPU in another piece of paper towel. But basically, yeah, like the processor frequency would change itself all over the place, and it would get up to 100 degrees almost immediately, and then you'd get real sluggish and eventually shut down, because obviously that much heat is not good for it. So to prevent damage, the machine just shuts itself off. So anyways, I finally said screw MSI, and I ordered an EVGA x99 chipset classified edition motherboard, which is great because, I mean, it's like, this is all classified cards. They have this, particular black and red with some silver and white tones color scheme, and I think it's going to look real nice with the board. The NZXT mount that I ordered is black, and so, like my again flipped over, this you can see still has your classified emblem and so forth on it. So I think everything is going to look real good when I get it back in the case. Hoping that board will come tomorrow, maybe Friday at the latest, and then I will continue this video at that time and show you guys what it looks like, like the card assembled, and then I'll probably pause and then put it back in the case and then fire it up and see how it does, and put up some temps and see how see how it performs. But anyways, this is once again Drizzle. If you like this video, please go ahead and click a like and or subscribe. But like I said, I'll go ahead and continue this here shortly. Thanks for watching. Alright, so I've got my Kraken G10 liquid cooling GPU mount. The box shows a white one, but I ordered a black one, so I hope it is correct. Otherwise it won't really match my color scheme that well, but whatever. Hopefully it's the right one. And then I got my Corsair Hydro Series H55 closed loop liquid cooler, which should mount, as you can kind of see, it's designed to mount on the bottom of the card, and then you use your little back plate there to keep it in place and run the wires up to your your radiator. Anywho, I got my card all ready here as shown previously. That was last night. And I'm going to go ahead and open this stuff up and get it laid out here, and then I'll continue the video at that point. You can see I've got my different parts laid out here. Like, this is the fan that mounts on here to keep your RAM area cool, this area over here. And then there's my Corsair H55 that's going to get mounted to this section here, and it's held down by this little area of the mounting bracket. And then I've got this is the fan that will go on there to keep the radiator cool. And you got a bunch of different mounting hardware, and some of that's not going to be used. In fact, most of it won't be used because it's designed for you to be mounting this to a CPU, not a GPU. And so really the mounting bracket from the the NZXT G10 comes with the stuff you need for the most part to mount your cooler to your card. So I'm going to be playing around with this for a while. You can see I got my instructions over here. I don't think it's that complicated, but we'll take a little while to set it up, and then I will be back when I got it all set up. And then I'm still waiting for my new motherboard to come from UPS today, and when that arrives I will test with this card and see what kind of temps we get. Hopefully the motherboard works, because if that doesn't work, then this isn't going to do anything. But anyways, I'll continue on a little bit. So we've got our bracket and our water pump now mounted on our card. You can kind of see the way everything is sort of mounted together here. We've got a fan in there to keep the RAM cool. Got our water radiator and pump all set up and connected to the card. And kind of turn this thing around here so you can get a better look at it. And it's upside down right now, but when it's in the case, you'll be able to read the NZXT correctly. And basically, once I get it in there, I'll figure out how I want to mount everything. And then there's a little bag of zip ties that they included, so you can kind of tie all this stuff together and keep it neat for cable management. So basically, I'm just waiting now for UPS to show up with my new classified edition motherboard, and then I'll get that installed and then put this on there, and we'll see how she works. Hopefully it'll be pretty beastly. I think it looks kind of neat. It definitely looks different than it did before. I don't know about space between cards. I mean, I don't think that takes up any more space than a normal, two slot cooler. Should be about the same, so I don't think it'll take up any more space. Anyways, I'll continue the video once I get the board installed, the new motherboard. Maybe I'll add that to the video, but I'll continue at that point, and I'll talk to you as soon as I got it. All right, we've got our EVGA classified x99 chipset motherboard. Just arrived from UPS a couple minutes ago. Sorry for the reflection on there. Apparently the camera just does that. Anyways, I haven't opened it up yet or anything like that, but as you can see, it has arrived, so I'm going to go ahead and open it up here and start putting it in the system. And I will continue the video once we've booted her up. Alright, so far we're making pretty good progress. You can see I've got the board physically into the case. I've kind of started doing some wiring. One real annoyance I've had with this so far, as you can see down here, the USB 3.0 header, which is the only one, for your front panel 3.0 ports, is in a really dumb location. Usually they're like up here where you see where the 24 pin is at. Usually it would be like right next to that. You can just kind of plug it down into it. And I understand that their design choice here is to try to make it so everything kind of hangs off the edge and is less obtrusive, which is cool, but it might have worked better in another case. But you can see, like, where my wiring has to run through the back there, it's kind of a small, long oval, doesn't really allow the cable any room. I almost feel like I should cut the case or something. Not that I'm going to do that, but you know, to allow the cable a little bit more flexibility. I don't know if there's any kind of an adapter I could get that make that an angle that would come around the edge better. I might go on Amazon and see if I can find something, but I don't like that. That's stupid. And it doesn't even make sense because like it came with this bracket. Pull this out of the box, you can see like this was included with the board, and as you can see it's the same flipping thing. You know, it wouldn't bend around something like that, so they didn't design this with a lot of cases in mind, and I guess I didn't really think about it when I ordered it, so whatever, it's my own fault. But minor annoyance. You can see I did get it plugged in, it's just that it's kind of got some pressure on it. I don't really like that. I don't think that's a good long-term design. Anyways, I've got my RAM installed, I've got power running here. This thing supports 2 full sets of 4 pins, so you got 8 pins of power. Supposedly you can run an extra 600 watts to the CPU for overclocking. Obviously that's for crazy people who like liquid nitrogen cool or something, but it's still pretty wild that you can do that. Apparently there's a 6-pin connection down here for additional power to your PCI Express slots, so I'm going to have to figure out how to run another 6-pin. Either I'll use like a Molex to 6-pin adapter, or I've got lots of connections to my power supply. It's an EVGA 1300 watt Supernova G2 series, Gold Plus certified. It's fully modular and has tons and tons of extra connections in the box that I'm not even using. And as you can see, I've got a lot of cables available already, but those all got to go to my 3 video cards. So anyways, I got the back fan removed because I'm going to have to put I'm going to run the GPU water cooler radiator up there, and then later if I decide I like it enough that I want to do my other 2 video cards, I'm going to use the front 2 sections here to hook up those radiators. These fans that come with this case, I was surprised, are actually bigger than 120 millimeter. I didn't realize it just by giving it a visual look. I think they're more like 140 or something because they're really close, but they are bigger than a standard case fan. So when I went to try to line one of them up to put that radiator, it was too big. Luckily I have a lot of extra fans from Corsair from different things I've built and had extra things left over, so it's no big deal. I can just swap in the correct size. These are all kind enough to, they have, as you can see, multiple points for screws, so you can do a 120 or a 140 millimeter fan, so it shouldn't be a big deal, and I can still use the 120 extra fans that I had. So but you can see like here you got like an LED readout on this thing, so it gives you error codes if you have problems, which is cool. And there's a little dip switch below that. This board supports 3 different BIOSes, you know, like redundant BIOS, so if like one of them corrupts or you have a problem with like an overclock that fails and you can't get into the machine, like including the CMOS doesn't work for some reason, which nicely up here you've got a clear CMOS button, a little red button there, which is awesome. So this is got some serious redundancy in case you have a failure of some kind. Supposedly it even has a physical way to shut off, yeah, like you see over here, the little yellowish colored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like you can physically shut off PCI Express slots on this board somehow. I don't know how to do it yet. I'll have to read in the manual, but that way if you're having a problem with one of your video cards, or if you just want to disable them for whatever reason without taking them out of your case, you can just shut them off and it'll kill power to whatever slot you choose, and then you can take a card out of your array that way. Pretty wild. It's a pretty nice looking board. Again, I think the MSI board was a little nicer looking, although this is pretty cool. The I/O shield in the back here, you can see, actually it was not connected, and you physically have to connect it yourself, but it covers up all your little back ports, which is cool. Adds a little protection, and it looks nice and clean. But I'll continue on here in a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and add in my Corsair cooler back on the top there, and I got to start connecting up all my drives that are housed in the back. I've got 4 solid state drives back there that I've got to be reconnected. And then down here you can see the case offers support for 2 drives to be mounted here. I've been putting I have a 1 terabyte SanDisk Ultra 2 SSD that goes up here. I have my hard drive over here, but as you can see again, the 3.0 header was so big and obtrusive that it was bouncing, you couldn't fit the drive in there and at the same time. So I'm going to put the SSD over here now and move the hard drive, my 3 terabyte Western Digital Caviar drive, over here so they don't get in each other's way and everybody's happy. So anyways, we'll continue on shortly, and like I say, I'm going to go ahead and get this finished up and put that GTX 980 Ti with that water cooler on there and see how she works. and I'll continue in a few minutes. Alright, I've got my GPU installed. I got my little water cooler hooked up to the back here. Kind of routing of things is a little bit squirrely because, as you can see, like my SLI connectors are right here, and I gotta be able to bridge it to my additional 2 cards once I get them installed. So it's sort of a mess to some degree. I'm not even sure how I would ever set up 2 more cards this way in here. Like, I mean, I could kind of do it in the front here, but it would be convoluted. I might be able to kind of run this up and have it somehow work in tandem with the other radiator or something, because there's a good amount of room in there. This is a bit more spacious. Like, this heatsink you see here isn't as big on this board as it was in the last one, so maybe there's a way to, you know, use enough space to have like dual radiators and then a fan blowing through both of them. It probably wouldn't really affect temps too much. I don't know, hard to tell. Anyways, I think I got everything hooked up. All my drives are back in. All my SATA connections are made, which you can run to the back. I just need to connect the fans to my fan controller, which is the NZXT in-drive 6-fan fan controller. And that's, like I say, on the other side, so can't see from here. But basically, I just need to wire things up in the back a little bit more with that, and all the fans should work. And we will turn it on and see what happens. So I'll be doing that in a minute, and hopefully nothing blows up, man. Alright, we've got everything hooked up, and as you can see, we're running our new water block on with our NZXT G10 mount. I ended up mounting it to the front instead of the back where I had it before, because now I'm able to put, you can see the radiator there, but I've got 2 120mm fans up front instead of, it had 2 140s total. This has got, you know, enough screw mount positions where you can kind of vary up how you want to do things. But this way I could still have 2 good fans going and have the radiator up there. And if I were to get another one of these water blocks for a second card, or even for 3, I would probably be able to do like 1 in the back maybe, and then, you know, 2 up front, or try to figure out how to get all 3 up front maybe. But regardless, it is definitely in there. It's definitely working. It does seem kind of loud. I don't know if that's the water block making that much noise or something else is doing it, but you can hear it's pretty noisy, but not that bad. And as you can see, shit, I'm getting that reflection on here, but it's running at like 31 degrees idle, which is really quite nice. And I've got my Heaven benchmark handy, which I've already kind of screwed around with before this, so I could get an idea of how it was doing, but we'll run it. And it'll take it a second here, and you can see how it's doing, but it didn't get very hot. Seems like it's a lot better than it was on air. Alright. Let's see if you can read that. Now, this is just 1 card, of course, so normally I'd get a better frame rate, obviously, when I have more cards hooked up. I don't know, this is going to be readable. There you go. You can see it's, I mean, it's not even at 50 degrees yet. It's kind of sitting, there you go. That's not too bad. I mean, it's kind of hovering around 50 degrees pretty well. That's pretty damn good for under full load like this. Anyways, clearly seems to be a pretty effective cooling method. Kind of a pain in the ass to hook it all up. I ended up having to get, hold on, I dropped them. These copper shims, you can see. There was not enough space to mount the water block directly on the GPU itself, because like the EVGA 980 Ti classified has this metal shrouding over it, which I showed earlier in the video, and it was preventing the block from making full contact with the GPU. So I bought these off Amazon for like $5 for the whole bag. I got 20 of them, and they're 20 by 20 by 1 millimeter. I watched another video that kind of described how to install it, and as he suggested, actually like a 25 by 25 by 1, or maybe even like 1.2 millimeters thick would probably be a little bit better. These don't quite 100% cover the whole GPU portion. They cover most of it though, And obviously it's working, you know, or these temps would be through the roof. Like, it's still not even at 60 degrees, and it's been going for several minutes now. It's at 58. That's really, really good temp for, you know, for a full load. Now, it's not overclocked or anything, so I'm sure it'll get hotter when I do that, but it's still well within low tolerance. I mean, shit, sometimes these things are idling close to this high when you get like a bunch of them in a case together, so that's a nice low temp. Anyways, yeah, so I had to put in the shim to get the water block to mount correctly, but once I did that, now it obviously is working quite nice. So anyways, it looks to have been a successful, you know, a successful run, and I will go ahead and get all my other cards put back in that are still using the ACX coolers and see how it can perform in 2 or even 3-way SLI. I hope I can fit everything in there. I mean, I think I've got enough space. That's why I ran this to the front instead of up here, because the tubes were getting in the way of the SLI connectors, and I wasn't thinking there'd be any way to do 2 or even 3-way SLI if those were still in there. So I'm going to fiddle with it and try to get everything in. But thanks for watching. This has been Droozle, and please go ahead and click like or subscribe if you like this kind of content. Maybe post something in the discussion section, and if you have any suggestions about content you'd like to see or questions you'd like to ask. I'm pretty tech savvy. I'd happy to either answer or look up an answer for you. But again, thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye.